Captain's Log, February 6th, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you, you've made it to Friday. How was my week? It was alright, I have to say. So, I'll get into what I watched this week, instead of having it be like 20 minutes into the show, like I did last week, because I forgot. So, for class, I watched Midsummer. I got an anecdote about this that we'll get to in due time, but I gave it 3.5 stars, and said, one time at a party, I did 2 shots of green apple flavored vodka on an empty stomach and went home. The next few hours felt like the dancing competition in this. The constant daylight has the effect of never letting you know when something's going to happen. Some nice shots and quite well edited. So this was not the anecdote, the 2 shots of vodka. That was not the anecdote I had in mind, but I forgot about that in the review. So I guess I'll explain that as well as the other thing, but I'll get to that after I do the next one. So I saw novelty. Captain Vile only plays games from like the 2000s, and Captain Vile only watches movies from like 10 years ago. But no, I saw a movie that came out this month, actually. Was it this last month? Whatever. I watched Iron Lung, the Markiplier movie. So I gave this 3.5 stars and a heart, because I said I was going to start doing that. And yes, that means I appreciate the quality of Midsummer, but I did not really like it that much. I think I would rewatch it, but I don't think I would like. And I maybe I moved on from Midsummer a little too fast, actually. Whatever. We'll go back to Iron Lung. Let's linger on Midsummer, and then I can explain the party story. So, good movie. I quite liked the never being sure when something was going to happen. Okay, well that's not never being sure, because there are a few scenes where it's like, okay, it's nighttime. Because typically in horror movies, it's like, okay, it's the sun setting, it's now night, something's gonna happen. It's a horror movie, alright? They're walking towards the basement, they're gonna find something down there. This movie didn't really have that, because there's like one scene, well, I guess at the beginning, but once they get to the village, there is one scene where it is not daylight. And surprise, surprise, something happens. But other than that, it's always just you're waiting for the other shoe to drop the entire time. Or I guess you're waiting for the shoe to drop multiple times. But it jumps at you. I mean, if you're like, you can predict where it's gonna go, and I did. But it's I'm a hint. It's always whenever they hand them to drink something. I think I'd survive because I would refuse to drink anything. Not even because I was afraid of being poisoned, even though I have this irrational fear of being poisoned. I've never been poisoned, but I always like cover my food, and I'm so paranoid about someone slipping me something, or I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know where this originated from. Again, like, I've never been poisoned. This isn't like I had a bad experience at a restaurant because I like belittled the chef and they like slipped something in my food, and now I'm always like vigilant. No, I just am scared of being poisoned. But I would do this anyway because I don't like fruit drinks. Well, I guess I'll probably be open to. I don't like the fruit drinks they had available. I would be more open to maybe like a vegetable smoothie than like fruit juice like they have. So I wouldn't accept anything they handed me. I wouldn't do the damn shrooms. I mean, I'd be watchful of the tea, because it's like, oh, you can make the shrooms in tea form, can you, huh? You try, what's in this? What's the tea? And I don't mean gossip, but I'm bummed. But I'd probably get out just by walking. Like, no, I don't enjoy this. This isn't fun. I'm gonna walk back the 4-hour car ride. I'll walk. I'll be fine. And then I get attacked by Swedish wildlife or whatever. I don't know what they have in Sweden. Do they have any? They have something. Maybe they have wolves. Again, I don't know. But good film. I would rewatch it. Just don't know if I fully enjoyed it. Excuse me. Interesting thing about the ending. I laughed at it because I saw it in a comedic light, because I was thinking about it in a comedic light. Because when this was shown in Sweden, there was the tone of it being horror didn't come across, because it was like it's folk horror. It's horror in like the unfamiliar culture. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's their culture because I don't know. But they thought it was a comedy, the Swedes, when they watched it. So they watched the ending and laughed. And I gotta say, I kind of did too. Even without that, I probably would have, because it was just, I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of funny. From like two specific moments. One being of the guy. No, I said I wouldn't spoil it. Watch it for yourself. But I did recognize 2 actors, which did take me out of the film a little bit until I got back into it. Like, recognized that they're good on their own. But I got paid 5,000. You got paid 5,000. I only got paid 2,000. You got paid 2,000. I got paid 500. And then the kid goes, "You guys are getting paid?" That guy is in this. The "you guys are getting paid" kid is a character in this movie. And every time he showed up, that image flashed in my head, and I couldn't take anything he did seriously. But he's the comedic relief character, so it kind of worked in his favor. He was not the hero of the story. It would have been hard to take him seriously had he been. And also, the actor who plays Chidi in The Good Place, which is a show about the afterlife and whatnot, is the other. I think he's Josh. I remember his character's name, Chidi's name, but not the actor's name. My bad. My mistake. I will not get better at doing that. I am terrible at remembering actor names. Alright, even, like, I don't know how many celebrities I could name right now. If Steve Buscemi is, like, one of the only ones I remember. Because he's, like, he's one of my favorite actors. But it's, whatever. Do you want to explain? I'll explain the damn story. There's not much to it. I was invited to a party. We were playing Drunk Monopoly. And I, like, failed 2 of the tasks, and the drinks on hand were literally only vodka, so I just picked the green apple one, because I like green apple flavor. Excuse me. And I didn't eat anything that day, because I was busy animating. And I had forgotten to, and then I went to the party, and they didn't have any, like, snacks there, it was just vodka. So, I did the 2 shots, and then I went home. I mean, not shortly after, maybe, like, 45 minutes to an hour after having taken the shots. And I just kind of sat in my chair, and I began to edit videos. And that was probably not a great idea. But I felt weirdly, I don't know. It was not enjoyable being that drunk. I think that's one of the only... that's probably the drunkest I've ever been. I don't think I've mentioned this, actually. I don't drink. I think I've drunken alcohol maybe 3 times in my life? That sounds right. Yeah, alright, so... at age... I think it was like 10? Now, you may raise an eyebrow at that, but it was like... I think my grandpa had died, and he had left a bottle of, like, scotch or something that was, like, intended for us, and I got a sip of it, and it was revolting. Then when I was, I want to say, like, 18? Yeah, 18 sounds right. I had I shared a pint with my father, and I got a sip into it, and was like, oh, this is revolting again. And then at, like, 19 or 20, 19, yeah. This one. So that's the story of Captain Viles drinking alcohol. I don't have very much experience with it, and I didn't like any time I did it. But the most recent time at least tasted good. It stinged a little, though, I remember that. I don't think I passed out. No, I just went to bed normally. I didn't wake up with any, like, a hangover. It was an unpleasant evening. I edited videos, my head hurt. It felt like I was underwater. And I was, like, moving slowly, and things sounded like they were coming through, like my headphones. It sounded like they were coming through the next room. It was all muffled. So I didn't like that. That's another reason I wouldn't have taken the damn shrooms. I hate not being in, like, full control of all my faculties. I don't want to be unaware of what my surroundings or anything like that. It's not an idea I like, so I don't do that. Now back to Iron Lung from old Markiplier. If you forgot, I gave it 3.5 stars and a heart. And I said, stunning practical effects and clever use of lighting and shots, given that there are 3 scenes that don't take place within the submarine. I don't feel it was too long, since it's paced well and tense throughout, but the end was hard to follow due to how the blood made it difficult to see what was happening. The biggest thing I'll hold against this film is it stopped Markiplier from cameoing in the FNAF movie. So yes, I liked Iron Lung. It had a submarine in it, sue me. I've heard through the grapevine that there are people annoyed with the movie because it's long and people, I don't know, it might be an attention span thing. I typically, like, I guess long-time listeners might be, again, raising an eyebrow, like, really, Captain? You didn't think it was too long? Isn't that, like, your main complaint with movies? Oh, it's too long. Oh, there's an unnecessary love scene. Oh, where's the submarine? But that's wrong. I don't have a problem with long movies. I have a problem with poorly paced movies. One of my favorite movies is Das Boot, which, yes, has a submarine in it. It's set entirely on one. But that's almost 4 hours. But it's well-paced, and it feels kinda like 3 hours. Actually, I think it's 3.5 hours, but we're splitting hairs here. The point is, I thought that it was a well-paced, slow-burn psychological horror. I didn't know it was a psychological horror. I think that may also be part of people not liking it, is they thought it was going to be like a in-your-face action movie, but it was really more of just like a... I don't know if I want to spoil that aspect of the film, because I don't think it's in any... I've not looked at any of the marketing. It's not in the description of the movie, but there's a psychological aspect to it, which is pretty interesting, and does play into... My biggest gripe for the movie is the audio mixing, and, as I said earlier, the finale, the climax is hard to follow visually because of all the blood. It's a little difficult to tell what's going on because blood ain't exactly clear, it's opaque. So he's in the blood, and it's like you can't see what he's doing in the blood. It's you can't see what's going on. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, it's a submarine in an ocean of blood. That's what Iron Lung is. It's based on a video game. But there's a scene where he's like hallucinating the speaker, and it says hull breaking. However, it can be. It's like the Yanny Laurel thing. It says hull breaking, but if you listen to it and think of the phrase "I'll break in," as if he's being taunted by some entity, then you'll hear that. So, but I only heard hull breaking, but it was difficult to understand. I made out eventually, because it repeats a lot. But I made out that it was hull breaking, but the audio is a little, maybe could have done once over in the editing room. And the whole thing takes place in the submarine, a bar for a few scenes, and it's well edited. It's got some creative use of lighting and shots because it's in one room for 2 hours. So they better. But every moment of character dialogue that is not Markiplier himself in the room is over a radio, which could have been a little louder. The other thing I wanted to point out was that in the credits, it didn't say Mark Fishburne. It said Markiplier, written and directed by Markiplier, his username. Which means that little old me can have my movies, if they ever get made, say written and directed by Captain Vile, and then I'll turn to my right and look at my father, who I invited to the premiere, and he'll shake his head and go, "That's really unprofessional, Sawyer." But it's my movie, so whatever. I didn't know you could have it be that. I know in credits there are, like, you'll look at the credits and it'll say, like, I don't know, Jerry the Lightbringer, Fishburne. I don't know. And, like, oh, the crew have, like, nicknames, and they'll include that in the credits. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know, like, the directors could do that. So I was always, I was going to try and do it myself. Anyway, I would do, like, Sawyer, either, like, the Captain or Captain Vile Etienne. But I can just have it be Captain Vile? Oh, well. I might not do that. I might never get a chance to do that. But it's an amusing thought. Now, movie tangents went on a little longer than I'd wanted to. My bad. But whatever. We still got time on the show. It's fine. So, my week. So, my first class of the week was canceled, but I didn't realize that. I never checked my school email. I really should do that more often. There's nothing, like, urgent in there, except for, like, every now and then, but this was an every now and then moment. But it was classes canceled because the lecturer is sick. But I showed up, on time, to an empty lecture hall. And then I pulled out my laptop and was like, okay, I'll check my school email, because I think class has been canceled again, and it was. So this is the third time that this has happened, and just as all the times before it, I walked to the front of the room, and this time, however, I had a pen, so I could have slides, as it were. I could pantomime hitting a projector screen. I gave a lecture to an empty room. This is the third time I've done this. Every time I show up to class when class isn't scheduled, I give an impromptu lecture to no one, and pretend there's a full call interested in what the hell I'm saying. Much like what I'm doing now. So the first time I did the lecture to my students was I did it on how Riddler is actually Batman's nemesis. Then the second time, it was how Dave's plan, Dave from Penguins of Madagascar, the octopus, his plan is very poetic if you, like, analyze it. And this time, it was about the various types of armor in Helldivers 2. I went from the passives, the benefits and cons, and the types being light, medium, and heavy in this video game I'm playing in my free time. So that was fun. I think I gave it like a 15-minute lecture, and then I decided to pack up my stuff and go. I know no one walked in on me doing this time. I didn't have to explain myself, luckily. It's always difficult to do that. Anything else happen? Okay, so this is just while, like, we're, this isn't a huge talking point, but I'm mixing up the fake lecture with, people walking by while I was in costume during downtimes during shooting today for our assignment. There's, like, a window in the door, and people can, like, walk by the window and look into the studio and see what we're filming, and they'll see, like, me in costume, and I'll notice it, and, well, I don't know. So that's what I was mixing up, because I thought someone had done that, but it's not what happened. So now, some anecdotes that happened tonight. I have gotten, or no. So a while ago I mentioned that I can't have, or not I can't have, I am not having cereal with milk as of late, because it's too cold. The milk is, I don't think heat sink is the right word or phrase, but I'll drink the milk and I'll be freezing afterwards because the milk took the heat in my body, and, like, that's how heat works, whatever. I'm freezing after I have a bowl of cereal because of the milk. So, in order to counteract this, I would have to have a mug of tea to heat myself back up, to be neutral. But that's kind of tedious, because I don't want to have a cup of tea with every single bowl of cereal. Because sometimes I'm, like, animating, and it's, like, after dinner, and I'm hungry, and I'll go, well, cereal's a pretty quick thing to make, but I can't have a cup of tea then, because it'll keep me up. So I've now taken to having cereal dry, but not every cereal is good dry, only some. So, mini wheats are what I've been eating as cereal, just on their own. Kind of like popcorn, but whatever. I've been eating those. But the store I went to last week, I thought they were out of mini wheats. Turns out they, I think, have stopped stocking them. So I went to the aisle, and last week, oh, they must be out of them. I'll go without cereal for a week. That's fine. And then I went about my business. And then I came back this week and looked in the aisle, and there was no empty space where they were. There was no, like, box that the workers could, like, put on a shelf that contains the boxes. So I asked a guy who was stocking nearby where I could, like, if he knew if they were out of them. And he looked around and said, oh, I guess we are, sorry. And they said, fine, yeah. So, damn, I may have to find another cereal to have, because they seem to be out. I don't know, maybe they deemed it wasn't profitable. And I don't know if people were buying them, but I liked them, so damn. That's really all I have to say on the matter. Damn. Another thing is the peanut butter I normally get for my sandwiches has changed branding. So it's a noticeably smaller jar than normal. I keep all my receipts, and I looked. So it's 340 grams, the new jar. The old jar is also 340 grams. So it's not... I mean, it's a different color than it normally is. It's a little darker. So I think they may have changed their recipe. But maybe it's denser. Maybe there's more peanuts in it. I haven't had it yet. Because I bought it, like, before dinner. I went out at, like, 5 p.m. To get them. But it's a smaller jar. I think it's made of... Maybe not glass, but... It's a different packaging. Same color, same name, same price, thankfully, but it's... I'm not sure if I'm getting scammed here or not. I'm not sure if it's a quality upgrade or downgrade. I suppose I'll report later. How much time we got left? We're at 25 minutes. I did have another talking point, but I guess I went on about movies for too long. Maybe we can have a half-hour shower. Not half-hour shower, half-hour show. I do have to have a shower after this, though. Alright, it's my show. I'll talk about it. It's not going to take that long. So, you may have noticed an absence in Captain's Complaints, the series where I complain about stuff that is animated. Now, that is kind of because this show is killing it. By that I mean, the topics of which I would complain on Captain's Complaints, I complain on here, but in a much more relaxed manner. Because if you look at some of the Captain's Complaints, and you look at the comment sections, people noticed it. I recorded those as soon as the transgression transpired. I was at the mic fuming at what had happened. So, like, I had to do my laundry, and I recorded that while I was doing my laundry. Like, I had put it in the machine, I walked back to my room, and started complaining about having to do laundry with an app. But for this, I wait. I mull it over, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not that. But the reason for that is sometimes there are a few Captain's Logs that Captain's Complaints since what's the most recent one? YouTube ads? I think so. That ought to be it. Yeah, I've recorded a few. One was about, like, chess, and that, like, this is what I'm talking about. Since I recorded them as I was mad about them, I wasn't thinking about what was happening. I was mad. I wasn't thinking, is this worth talking about? Is this worth listening to? Unlike with, like, this. Like, I've thought about it all week. Not because I'm like, still fuming about it, just because it's, like, I have a weekly show where I talk about my week. But I'll have time to mull it over and be like, okay, well, this isn't worth... It has happened, but it's not worth mentioning, so I'm not going to. But this did happen, so I will mention it, just like with the peanut butter and whatnot. But there's some other stuff that happened that I'm not going to mention, because who cares? That's not worth mentioning, but this is. So... whilst, like, editing, I'll go, this is stupid. I'm complaining about stalemates in chess because I lost. Like, it's a stupid rule in chess, but I was mad because I lost a game. And I complained about it. And then, like, had I... And there were a few other topics I complained about that I don't remember now. But the show's kind of scrapped, I think. Whoops. Thanks to this. Got another burp. It's not coming out. Whatever. But I can get to them in a more relaxed manner. And then some of them I don't even get to at all, as I said earlier. But I think between the two, I mean, it's like negativity sells, and it is fun to complain. Don't get me wrong. I liked doing Captain's Log because I liked openly, frankly, whining about insignificant aspects of everyday life. But, I mean, it's not that great to be negative all the time. And it was kind of cheap. Like, negativity sells, as I think I just said that, but it's so easy to be negative. It's like, you'll get into a loop if you're negative all the time. And especially if you're a negative, like, content creator. If all you do is complain, then all people want to watch you do is complain. And this kind of goes for, like, if you do other stuff. I mean, I don't really care. I do whatever the hell I want. But if you're known for complaining and then you don't complain, or if you're known for doing, I don't know, reviews of hats, and then you review a tie, people are like, where's the hat, buddy? Like, you kind of get locked in a box. But with negativity, you get locked in a negative box, so you're just miserable. Just, like... Which, I don't know, maybe that'll help, I don't know, ratings, whatever the hell, views, I don't care. That'd help that, but it wouldn't help you. So, having this more calm, like, you know, that's kind of tedious, but oh well. So here's what happened in my week approach, is a bit more, I don't know, calming. And I prefer the... It's Captain's Log is every Friday, and then at the end of the month, a longer show where I can go on even more tangents than I'm going on right now. But with Captain's Complaints, it happened, like, the moment I got pissed. Which, I don't know, was pretty variable. This is consistent, Captain's Log wasn't, and was, again, just negative. So, it's not coming back, sorry. Doesn't mean I won't complain, or doesn't mean I'll stop complaining, just it'll stop having its own designated spot. Anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.